What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Buffalo Bills 2013 season reaction video brought to you by me and me only. I apologize for not getting a Week 17 preview up for the Patriots game with the holidays and everything. Really just didn't get a chance, so my apologies for that. I hope you can forgive me. Would have obviously picked the Bills to lose at New England. It's a yearly donation. They lost. I don't really want to reflect too much on that game because, A, it was sort of meaningless. Granted, I would have loved to have beat New England in New England. B, it was completely rainy and terrible. And C, now it's just done. The season's over. I don't need to reflect on one game. I need to reflect on 16. So I'm going to open up to you guys, obviously. I want to hear what you have to say. How do you feel about the season? How do you feel about going 6-10 again? What is this, the third year in a row now? This is ridiculous. Let's click this. I got a link up here real quick. 6-10 for the third year in a row. Fourth time in 5 years we've gone 6-10. The last 8 seasons, the Bills have gone 6-10 4 times, 7-9 3 times, and 4-12 once. Wow. There's your story right there, right? That is just brutal. Anyway, a little different this time from the standpoint that we had Doug Marrone at the helm. We had a rookie quarterback, a multitude of quarterbacks that played throughout the season. So I want to know how you feel. I'll tell you how I feel in a second. But how do you feel about A, Doug Marrone, Nathaniel Hackett, Mike Pettin, that core group of guys? And B, how do you feel about E.J. Manuel, about the offense, and obviously C, the defense? Moving forward, are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? What do you think we need to address in free agency, in the draft, and what have you? Don't give me your scenarios. You can give me a couple guys you look at. Don't hit me with your, I think we need to trade back with Cleveland for their pick or whatever. You know what I mean. With Cleveland's second pick, we need to go get that from them, even though they're rebuilding. Who do you like? Who do you like in free agency? Who do you like in the draft? Who do you think benefits the team? Do you think we need a new coach? Do you think we need a new quarterback? Let's hear those things. I'll give you my analysis right now. I'm more optimistic than I usually am, which is pretty optimistic, to be honest with you, because I'm always optimistic. At least in the offseason, I'm always pretty optimistic. I feel pretty good about Doug Marrone. I think that what I like about him the most is he doesn't seem like he's not like your Rex Ryan or your Marvin Lewis or any Jay Gruden who just got hired in Washington. It's like, this guy knows defense. Yes, this guy knows defense. Or Jay Gruden, this guy knows offense. Sean Payton knows offense. He will score points for you. Doug Marrone just knows football. That's what I like about him. I know he played offensive line. He probably has some experience, understands offenses more so than defenses, maybe. But he just understands football, and that's what I like about him. I've been trying to figure out and comprehend what he's trying to say in his press conferences all year round, because I like what he says, but at the same time, I'm like, what exactly is the message you're trying to convey to me? I understand that you're taking ownership, you're taking responsibility for this football team, and I love that about you. But you say you need to get better. I see flashes of it. I just need to see it on a more consistent basis. You stress consistency in the postseason press conference. I appreciate that. But you need to just... I know that those are sort of intangible things. It just needs to materialize somehow. I need to see it as a fan of the team. How are you going to do those things? You can tell me all you want how you're going to need to stress consistency. We're going to stress consistency and be more consistent, whatever, things like that. Tell me how. What do you think your areas you need to improve are? I hate how coaches are so, and I know that they need to do that. They're just so cryptic on what they think they need. That's what I liked about Gailey. Gailey did not beat around the bush. It was, people would ask him about Maben, for example. He'd be like, oh, you can insert your Aaron Maben joke if you want, but people would ask him about Maben, he'd be like, he needs to play better. His spot on this team is very tentative. Things like that. I like that about Gailey. Gailey is obviously a retread. I like Marone from the standpoint that he's coming up. He's, 49, 50 years old almost, but I get the sense that he just knows what he's doing. Even though he's never really been in this position before, I have more faith in him than I have had in the retreads like Gailey, Geron, who are just trying to you're teaching an old dog new tricks, and you just can't do that. So you got your new, dog, Doug Marone. Little play on words there. That's a great Twitter account, by the way, Dog Marone. At least it was. I don't know if it's still up. I haven't checked it in a while. After he made that comment about not wanting to pet his dog. But as far as the coaches go, optimistic. Mike Pettin did a pretty good job with the defense. Now, some people are thinking, well, at least Mike Pettin's not getting head coaching job offers or looks or anything. Why would he? Okay, this is what happened. He put together a defense who got a ton of sacks, second in the NFL in sacks, who got a ton of interceptions and turnovers. Great job. Great job. Those are two things that are difficult to, manufacture, sacks and turnovers, and you did it. But on that same token, I believe there were 9 games where the Bills allowed over 150 yards rushing. They allowed 20 points in all but 2 games this year, guys. The Jets and the Dolphins at home. They allowed 20 points, at least 20 points, in every other game. Every single one. To me, that just doesn't cut it. I mean, you got to hold these guys under 20 at some point, right? I'm not saying that that Mike Pettin didn't do a good job, because I think he did. I think he did a pretty good job, actually, all things considered. Coming in first year, defensive coordinator, first time he's the real defensive coordinator, because in New York we think that Rex Ryan was sort of calling the shots, but this was his doing. And he has a rookie linebacker in Kiko Alonso. He makes rejuvenates Jerry Hughes' career, makes ballers out of Marcel Darius, and who had a lot of criticism coming in to this year. Still has some criticism with the late meetings and what have you, but I think he will be more focused coming up. That's a dead issue to me. But made a baller out of Nickel Roby, Denoris Searcy, guys who we thought we were on the fence about. Is he capable of doing this? Yeah, he made some players. He showed some improvement. Players made progress under him, and I love that. I love that about him. But there are obviously still some cracks, because you can't allow 20 points 14 out of 16 games. I like that at all. And you can't allow 150 plus yards rushing in over half of your games. So something needs to be addressed there. I don't mean that in terms of coaching. I think Mike Pettin should stay. There's obviously a need for a certain type of player there, and I think it's a run-stopping linebacker. I look ahead to the draft. I think C.J. Mosley. I know Kiko Alonso is your primary linebacker because Manny Lawson played about 60% of the snaps, and Kiko Alonso played every single one. So you've sort of showed me what you want to do with your linebackers, but I think somebody like C.J. Mosley from Alabama, there's your run-stuffing linebacker. He can play with Alonso, and you can run 4-2-5s all day. And then, Lawson can come in even as a defensive end or strictly pass rushing situations. I just like guys like Mosley, who is a freak athletically, capable of playing pass coverage, and is your big run stopper. That's just the kind of guy I want. Do you like to look at a guy like Khalil Mack too? Yes, but he's a pass rusher. He's not a run stopper. He's, pretty much strictly a pass rusher and a total freak athletically. Love him, everything about him. But it depends if you want to go like a sexy style of pick there. That's you just got a bunch of sacks. You could throw Khalil Mack in there, but are you really going to shore up your run defense? Because it obviously has some shortcomings. So that's why I look at a guy like Mosley. I would love to re-sign Jairus Byrd. I think there's no way he doesn't fit. He obviously fits, but I think they're prepared to A, franchise tag him again, or B, move on without him, because I know that seems like that's obvious, but those two options. But you look at Aaron Williams. Aaron Williams improved greatly this year as a Buffalo Bill. Missed some time late. Denoris Searcy played very well. Jim Leonard could come back for 1 year if they choose to bring him back. But they could move forward with Williams and Searcy as your safeties. And they have Meeks and Duke Williams, who played primarily special teams. Meeks not so much, as he was out for about 8 weeks. But, that option is there. You have depth at the safety position if you want to let Byrd walk. That said, I don't want Byrd to walk. I want you to get a deal done. Doug Whaley said they're in the business of signing good players, so show me that. I don't know how much he wants. I don't think he's worth a safety. At least is worth $9 million per year. But he obviously fits your system. He is a hell of a football player. And he will, as long as he's on the field, doesn't do this stupid foot thing again, I want him there. So I would tag him again at a higher rate because you can do it one more time. You might piss him off, but he's got to play or he'll kill his value. So there's a defense. I like the corners outside. Obviously, Gilmore, McKelvin, and I already talked about Roby, who's just a baller. Switch over to offensive side. What do they need? Well, let's see. They hardly passed for 200 yards in most of the. I got it right here. Let me look this up. In 2013, the Bills passed for 200 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 9 times you couldn't pass for 200 yards. Mind you, you're playing shorthanded with your quarterback. That I understand. But they never threw for 300 yards, and only 7 times they threw for at least 200 yards, which is just brutal to me. That's something that obviously needs to be shored up. And what's the best way to do that? Either the quarterback, you've already said it's EJ Manuel, I'll talk about that in a second, or get some wide receivers that can make plays. Starting with the quarterback. It's EJ. Stop it. It's EJ. It's not Johnny Manziel. It's not Blake Bortles. It's not Teddy Bridgewater. It's EJ Manuel. If you want to take a flyer on Zach Mettenberger or Aaron Murray in like the 3rd round, I would probably be on board with that, to be honest with you, because that's a good value pick at that position. He can rehab for a year, maybe push EJ if EJ doesn't improve. But for right now, it's EJ. He only played 10 games, I believe. What did he go, 4-6 in those 10 games? Not great by any means. The Bills went 4-6 in the games he started. He probably could have won, maybe 5-5, because when he left the game, after he left the game in Cleveland, they led. They were up 24-17, and the defense let it get away, and Jeff Tuel couldn't bring it back. No shocker there. But if you're of the belief, and I may have brought this up before, if you're of the belief that the Bills beat maybe the Bengals even, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Browns with EJ Manuel at quarterback, why would you want to replace him? What would make you want to do that? I feel like most people have the belief that the Bills probably could have beat the Browns, maybe the Browns, if EJ Manuel was playing. Maybe the Chiefs, if EJ Manuel was playing, and certainly maybe the Bengals, if EJ Manuel was playing. I think those are 3 arguments that you could make. So why would you want to replace him if you think they could win those games with him playing? That I don't understand. He's your quarterback. He did enough for me to want to see him play more. He plays so well at home, and if he can just adjust on the road, which he finally did at the end of the season again in Jacksonville. Say what you want about Jacksonville. It's still a road victory. He started the game terribly. He battled back. Stared in the face of adversity and came back. Now he needs to do that against better opponents. He needs to do that in December in Buffalo or in December in other places because I never saw him play in bad weather either. The last game he played in November 17th against the Jets here in Buffalo. That was the latest he played in cold weather because then they were in a dome in Atlanta, at Tampa, at Jacksonville, and then he didn't play again. So I still haven't really seen him in bad weather. I guess it concerns me a little bit, but not overly. He's your quarterback. I want to see him play. I want to see what he's capable of doing, but he needs to stay healthy. Don't get me wrong. The guy needs to be on the field. I don't think he's injury prone. I think what you're looking at is a series of unfortunate events where he got hurt in training or in preseason, which happens, and he re-injured that knee 2 weeks ago, and it is what it is. The one against Cleveland, I'm completely discounting that because that was him staying in bounds, planting his leg in bounds when he could have easily stepped out, and some dude just taking a shot at his knee. And the same dude took out Gronkowski. So just be thankful that he's not Rob Gronkowski right now, okay? I know that sounds weird, but just be thankful that he doesn't have Rob Gronkowski's knee, okay? Moving on to the quarterbacks. The running backs are set, right? Jackson, Spiller, bang. Let's use them a little bit more often. Maybe so, because they're fantastic players. They're dynamite players. Moving on. The receivers. I think we need one. Or a tight end. Because Chandler's a free agent. He was your leading receiver. I think the Bills will be interested in bringing back Scott Chandler. I think they'll bring back Steve Johnson. I don't see why they would get rid of him. Chris Brown said it was 50-50. He thought it was 50-50 whether Steve Johnson was on the team next year. And I just expect him to be there. Just like Doug Whaley said in the post-game presser, why wouldn't he be there? He's a good player. Like I said, I've always been of the opinion that I'd rather have him than not have him. And they need to add somebody, clearly. I know they drafted Goodwin last year, and they drafted Woods last year. Isn't it funny that we still need one, we think? I think we do, though. Because I think T.J. Graham his days may be numbered. Very, very one-dimensional receiver. Really didn't, he caught a touchdown against New England. Did okay, I guess, but dropped that pass on fourth down. What's with Goodwin only getting one catch in the last 5 games? What's with that? And Johnson wasn't even playing. Johnson didn't even play the last 2 games. And Goodwin only had 1 catch in those games. I don't understand that. So they need to get somebody the ball. They need the big receiver. They need the Mike Evans, the Kelvin Benjamins. I think Manuel would love throwing the Kelvin Benjamin because he threw to him in college. I think Mike Evans would also work because I think Mike Evans bailed out Manziel a bunch of times. He would just throw it up. Well, there's Mike Evans because he's huge. That would work. Marquise Lee, even playing on the same, Marone coached against him too when he was with Syracuse. And Lee's with USC. Lee played with Woods. Might be a nice compliment to one another. Could happen. Or do you want to go tight end with Eric Ebron? However it's pronounced. Or Safarian Jenkins, the guy from Washington in the second round maybe. These are all options. If you want to go to the tight end route. You also have Tony Moriarty, so you have an unopened can of worms there because he didn't play. So, there's a lot to... I'm 19 minutes in this video. I haven't even talked about the special teams yet. And here's the special teams coming up in a second. But, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this thing. So please, if you came this far in the video, you obviously have thoughts because you came this far in the video to hear my thoughts. So you have thoughts, and I want to hear them. So hit me up on Twitter and hit me up on YouTube. Everything. Let's go. Anyway, Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, thought did an okay job, mediocre job. I hated some of his play calls. I didn't really care for the rest of them. I don't mean didn't care like as in dislike them. I just mean yeah, that's the thing. You call the plays. The players got to go out there and execute those plays. That's the bottom line. But I did hate some of his play calls. Like I said, did a mediocre job getting the best. But Stevie missed time. CJ missed time. Jackson was hobbled and is still a warrior. Woods missed time. It's a tough job, especially in your first year where you're just trying to make everything work, and you're just getting used to this thing, and all these guys get hurt. So I have some sympathy for him there. But he needs to bring out the best in all of his players, which I think he's capable of doing. The special teams, like I promised, Danny Crossman's staying. I don't know that that's, a great thing. Marone and Crossman are good friends, but you saw the writing on the wall. Even if you heard the press conference where Marone was like, we need to get some core special teamers, that's where you knew he wasn't firing Crossman. We need core special teams players like Marcus Easley. And they cut Marcus Doughton, who was one of theirs. They just need those type of players because special teams was putrid at times this year. Every punt return felt like there was a block in the back. LeGarrette Blount's running back kicks on you. Like, ridiculous. Special teams needs to be shored up immediately. Brian Moorman should probably be re-signed, even though Sean Powell actually statistically did better than him if you look it up. Weird to me, but I wouldn't hate Brian Moorman coming back. I don't know what they're going to do at kicker. I would think they bring back Dan Carpenter. They said they want to bring back Dan Carpenter. But you have Dustin Hopkins, too, so there's your kicking controversy. We have a kicker controversy. Of all things, we have controversy at kicker. Jeez. So you can tell me who you want to see there. Anyway, look at this. I'm 22 minutes into this video. This is crazy. I just keep talking and talking. But I want to thank every single one of you. If you came this far in the video, you are a true Bills fan. Because I'm talking, I feel like I've been talking fast, just spewing out ideas left and right. And here you are, still listening to me. So thank you. I have a couple other videos coming up. I'll do a draft preview in April probably because the draft is later this year, which sucks. I will have, I'm going to do a Buffalo Bills, even though Mark Gaughan of Buffalo News kind of beat me to it. I'm going to do an award show, probably next week, a Buffalo Bills, my award show. 10 or 12 awards, hand out to some guys. You guys can weigh in. As always, I want you to weigh in. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. All season, all year long, for the last 5 years, or however long I've been doing this, because I don't even know. So thank you, and of course, go Bills.